I think one of the fundamental problems with this is that you have to plan accordingly for your nap times.
That's it. That's my intro.
Hey, I'm Mandy, you're watching Swell Entertainment, and I am currently still in Texas for South by Southwest, the event that just won't end. But this event has been very productive work-wise for me because not only am I here for a review, obviously, of the event itself, but one way that I've been able to find quite a few video topics has actually been something that's happening outside of South by Southwest. And I mean directly outside of South by Southwest. You see, all around Austin, in the essential boundaries of South by Southwest, there's obviously light poles, communication poles, X, Y, and Z, okay? But here they have taken to saran wrapping them, industrial saran wrapping them, so that people can put up posters and flyers and stickers. And I'm assuming so it's easier for takedown and cleaning, which is flippin' brilliant. I'm not liking all the saran wrap plastic. I go back and forth on it. It's a lot of plastic, okay? But I also kind of get why you're doing it, because then at the end, like, no one can be like, oh, this event's destructive because of all the damage to our city property poles or whatever. But basically, people are advertising like crazy. There's quite an insane amount of advertisements and posters. It's not like there's just like one day where there's a bunch. Every time I go near the bounds of the festival, there are even more posters, okay? Some of my favorites, Looking for a Real Woman. The August Moon posters, obviously, for the Harry Styles fanfic movie starring Nicholas Galzantine and Anna Hathaway. A lot of AI-related ones. Apparently everyone has an AI newsletter, and every single music app is the future of music using AI. Can't wait. But really quick, let me tell you about the sponsor for today's video, Rocket Money. I have spent the last couple of years reviewing products and events and all these other things, and there are so often times where I sign up for something with the intention of canceling it, and I just completely forget. And whether it be an app subscription or some YouTuber's course subscription that I just forget to delete, I miss it. Luckily, Rocket Money is here to catch when I'm being charged for those things repeatedly. Rocket Money is the app you need to save more and manage your money better. Whether that's by helping you cancel your subscription, help you lower your bills, make a custom budget, grow your savings, and start working towards a better financial future, all in one place. Personally, I really like how their spending tab is laid out because it shows not just what I did the last couple of months, but also what I've earned versus what I've spent from money coming in and coming out. Like every other Gen Z millennial customer, I really would like to own a house one day, and Rocket Money is helping with that with the help of their budgeting tool as well as their smart savings setup, where I am able to grow my savings without me even really thinking about it. Take control of your finances today by going to rocketmoney.com/swellentertainment. You can try for free, or you can lock even more features with premium. Again, that's rocketmoney.com/swellentertainment, and thank you again to Rocket Money for sponsoring this video. But I saw one that caught my eye the first day I was here. Need some South by Southwest with a guy leaning down with like a zero battery bar. We've got you covered for 4 to 10 hour hotel rates. Download our app and choose from 1,000 global properties. It's an ad for Nappr, Nappr. Now, Nappr, I think I've definitely heard of before, at least the concept. I don't know if I actually heard of this app specifically, but it's basically what it sounds like. You can rent hotel rooms for naps, okay? Minimum 4 hours, upwards to 10 hours, okay? Which is essentially day rates for hotels. This is not an uncommon thing, but it's something that I don't think is very commonly known much anymore because I travel a lot and sometimes I don't spend the night at hotels, but I need somewhere to sleep during the day. I have done day rates at hotels before where I usually just book directly through the hotel. I've never used Nappr prior to this week, okay? But they were here, and so I figured the day that I took this was actually on Monday. I did try to go Monday to go and book my Nappr experience and go book my nap. And there was none available in the city limits of Austin. At least there wasn't when I searched up Austin. The app itself is it's free to download, but it's very minimal. Relax on your schedule. There's a pretty redhead in pajamas. Where to, near me, when, March 16th. So that's today. So let's just do that. Near me, March 16th. There's nothing. 0 hotels found. It's currently 1:48 p.m. And I think that that's part of the problem. I think when you're advertising for your local city, at the very least, you should get some temporary hotels involved for the event that you're trying to advertise at. Like, for example, there's quite a lot of hotels right near the convention center, the Austin Convention Center. They don't all have day rates. A lot of them sure are booked up, but like there's quite a lot of hotels in the vicinity that I'm sure are not entirely booked up that you could have been like, hey, we'll promote your hotel. You'll get the money, but like, let's partner with you as temporarily for the length of the festival, essentially. Then you have a lot more people that are more walking distance to the hotels that are nearby. That I think makes more sense. You may have tried that and it may not have worked. But then again, I think that means that you're not prepared to launch. Okay, because the problem with Nappr is obviously they're partnering with hotels. They have to. Like right now, I could use a nap. I'm in a hotel room, so I would just nap. But the thing about connecting it with South by Southwest is you kind of have to be nearby in order for this to be like a viable thing. Because for a lot of people, South by Southwest is a work trip. It's not just like a fun thing to go to. Yes, there are people, it is still a music festival, it is still a film festival, all this stuff. But like a lot of people that are in the convention center, around, which this was directly posted next to a coffee shop, next to the convention center, are people that are here working for whatever reason, whether they're journalists, whether they're investors, whether they're, startup entrepreneurs, whatever, whether they're annoying YouTubers that are there to just suck in as much possible so they can review it in a timely fashion. Okay, but we're working. So the nature of this being a viable thing would be me scanning it, being able to walk across the street and go take a nap for a little bit and then get back into the action. A 4-hour minimum is not really what I would want. I would need something last minute viable and something that I could get for smaller increments than 4 hours. Because if I really am here for work, then I'm probably going to need an hour, maybe 2 max. And even then it's like, we'll talk more about the actual review itself. Okay, I changed it to tomorrow, which is what I did when I booked this. I ended up making it for the next day. They have exactly a seemingly one hotel in the area, which is the DoubleTree by Hilton Austin University area. And this still says it's 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So I'm assuming the reason I can't book it today is that they can't confirm the booking day of, which again is part of the problem. Also 3 p.m., that's typical for day rates, is my understanding, at least with hotels I've been familiar with. But that's like, most people aren't gonna, maybe you need a nap by 3 p.m. If you're like doing like an all day festival, especially when a lot of the music and movies go late, you kind of need something later than 3 p.m. if you need a nap. So it's like, just as far as where you're advertising, it's not really a good move, I don't think. I may not need a nap by 3 p.m. tomorrow, but I might need one at 5 or 6 or 7 so I can keep going till 2 in the morning. And that's the same hotel I booked near me tomorrow. Amenities for the hotel itself: air conditioning, business work center, obviously just typical hotel things, okay? Presents guests with sophisticated and stylish accommodations along with a range of amenities. The hotel bar is a great spot to grab a drink at the end of the day, while the on-site restaurant provides travelers with a variety of food options. Soak up the Texas sun and the hotel's large outdoor pool. Free Wi-Fi, 24-hour fitness center, parking, extra $12, day use room, check-in 9, check-out 3 p.m., 129. So when I did my booking, I think I said that I was going to check in at 1 p.m. because I knew I wasn't going to be there first thing in the morning. And I knew personally for myself, I wasn't going to stay very long. I travel alone. I wasn't going to go nap somewhere. When I've previously napped during a travel trip or whatever where I can't stop somewhere, I usually just stay in my car. I don't have my car here, but I can guarantee the safety. Not that hotels aren't safe, but something where I'm using a third party like a Nappr app or something, I would question how protected is that data, because it's like someone who needs a nap in the middle of the day probably really needs that nap in the middle of the day, like maybe I'm not best to my fighting capabilities, okay? I had a bad hotel experience recently too, so I'm really not the person who would just be like, I'm gonna go nap in a random hotel room. Not that that's what this is, because the whole point of Nappr, I would assume, is that this is appealing for the hotels because there's just hotel rooms that you don't have booked up before 4 p.m. check-in time, okay? So it's like working with a hotel for that time slot where you can still get extra people in the room, but you're not actually taking up the room for a full night when that could be saved for another person. So the 3 p.m. out is so that they can flip the room for the next people, okay, that maybe need to check in at 4 p.m. How viable of an app idea is this really as like a company? Because like you really are dependent on the hotels in the area. Like let me check LA. 20 hotels found, okay? Some really nice ones. 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., $400 for that. The problem with this is a lot of the rates are more expensive than a lot of these hotels for just a regular night stay. Like if I really needed a hotel room, I would just pay for early check-in and then get a room nearby if I really needed to sleep, because then at least I would verify that like no one's gonna kick me out in case I sleep past my alarm or something. I'm booking for tomorrow. Today, if I needed to book right now, like I can't. So it's like, how often do you need a nap at the start of the day? Usually you need it in the middle of the day or at the end of the day, which I get at noon to 3, sure, would make sense. But like it's afternoon now, it's almost 2. So like they're not gonna take a booking now because I'd only have the room for maybe 45 minutes, if 30, if I could get over there, which doesn't sound good to a hotel because it's like, why do you need a room for 30 minutes? Young lady. Here it says $154.54 for my booking at the DoubleTree. Okay, now I'm gonna go and check my credit card information to make sure that you see this, because what it was is there was no pay in advance option, it was pay on site. So when I checked in, it said email, first name, last name, phone number, message, and I put just one guest because I didn't know what, it wouldn't let me skip ahead without a message. So I don't know why. Arrival time, I put 1 p.m., but I could arrive at 9. And again, here is my confirmation for my booking, $154.54. As I check in for tomorrow as well, it says $154.54 is what I would be paying, I believe. I recorded my check-in process just for safety. I didn't film any employees or anything like that, but I did have my phone running with a recording just so I had it, just in case it was like, who booked this? Like weird behavior, okay? Like I said, I had a bad experience with the hotel last week. I have some new hotel trauma, okay? I'm a little on edge.
So I double checked my booking. I definitely was told I was going to be paying $154, and I ended up paying about $202 for a couple of hours. And she's like, oh, for the day rate, it's usually check-in around 9 a.m. Oh, if you're sleeping, we'll put you over on the side. So I'm on what she called the graveyard side.
Yep. That's a graveyard.
She's like, that's quieter than being next to the highway. And I was like, oh, it's okay. I'm not going to nap. I'm just going to get some meetings done, which would also be where I can see this being helpful of just being like, oh, in a hotel room versus like the Messy Convention Hall. What is that? Is that paint? I think it's paint. I'm going to charge my phone and use the bathroom, and that's probably all I'm going to do here. I'm not sleeping.
So double checking here, it does look like I was charged the right amount. So that's good. It says DoubleTree Hotel 152.07. I was told 154 or whatever on the app itself. And that was part of this review, was being like, oh, the amount wasn't the same. Yeah, 152. Okay. I don't know if it charged my card wrong or if it like took it off the back end or something. But on the actual thing, it said 202.24 or something like that, which I said as well in the recording that I took when I first got to the room there. So I checked. I never say the amount verbally, but I remember seeing 202, which I then say on the video. But apparently that's not what I was charged. So I was charged. Oh, then I don't know what the deal was. Because basically, she even double checked. She was like, and it said you haven't prepaid yet. And I said no. And she's like, okay, because if you did, I would have to dig through. And she didn't seem to understand that I had booked through Nappr. So Nappr itself, I don't know exactly how they do the booking, at least with this particular DoubleTree. But she had no idea how I had booked. She just knew that I had booked a day used room. You got me there. On that at least, where the price is essentially what it said on the app. I mean, I guess that was like my main critique. I was like, ooh, $50 more, which for me is fine. And I think at that point when you're tired, it doesn't matter. But like, I was charged the proper amount, essentially. What is that? Is that paint? Is that trying to cover something up? Was there a stain that they just painted? Did they just scrub off a stain? That is so weird.
Here's a review of my DoubleTree cookie. It was warm when I got it. It's walnut chocolate chip. The walnuts aren't too bad. I'm not a big nut and cookie person, but pretty good.
I really did just charge my phone and eat the cookie they gave me, called my dad, looked at the graveyard that I was next to, and that was predominantly it. And then I left with very little fanfare. I just left. It's one of those rooms where it's like, yeah, I could sleep. If I really wanted to take a nap, I definitely could nap. Like, that's definitely a possibility. It's a matter of if that's what I wanted to do. As far as charging my phone goes, I also could have just gone and sat in the lobby and done that. What does Nappr get out of that? Because the room rate, are you getting a kick? You must be getting a kickback directly from the hotels. That must be what it is. Helping the world combat sleep deprivation one small nap at a time. Now in 24 countries. I don't think it's a small nap at a time when you have to commit to so much time though. Nappr, the Airbnb of naps, roast my startup. Nappr consists of a mobile web application that will provide access to an expansive network of short-term sleep locations in businesses, apartments, and homes, with hosts setting the price price similar to Airbnb. This will essentially allow people to take naps on demand from wherever they are, wherever they want to, and the venues of their choice, and also give hosts the ability to generate extra income in their unfilled spaces with convenient hourly scheduling, 30 minutes to 4 hours. Our revenues will be generated as a 15% commission from each transaction, with 10% coming from the Nappr and 5% from the host, 2 minutes from each. The apps will be free to download, and the entire network will be available on a 24/7, 365 basis. And then goes into target market and all this stuff. Hi, mate. As Kevin O'Leary would say, take this idea behind the barn and shoot it. Far too many issues here: theft, hygiene, drugs, and sex. Can't see any pricing that would make it interesting for someone to host someone in a single room for a short period of time with all the risks above. This is my humble opinion. I would suggest you to interview hundreds of people with spare space and 100 of people in your target market to see if they would use it. If you have already wasted a lot of time to create the tech, try to pivot and launch a niche copy of Airbnb, like Airbnb for cats, dogs, vegans, LGBTQ, etc. Or use it as a platform for people to book shooting spots for ads, movies, TV series. Good luck, mate. I don't see this working with private residences. Someone said this sounds like a Kramer Costanza idea. Yeah, this is from 3 years ago, and they obviously didn't listen. So obviously what they pitched it as here 3 years ago and what it is now is two very different things. But I assume that that's, again, the same things above, where it's like, yeah, if I'm home and I have to invite a stranger into my home for a nap, I have to be home, which I work from home, so that's one thing. But I also have an apartment, so it's like, where are you sleeping, bud? Which is why they have gone to a hotel model. The hotel model obviously is much more limiting than this. All in all, I don't think this is a long-term viable solution because, again, obviously you're limited from the hours of 9 to 4, occasionally to 6 for certain hotels. But the last-minute nature of it is what you would need. Like, I'm assuming that was probably the original idea with people just having it. The app interface is super basic, really, so I'm assuming that it's just really low-key to keep going, and so it's like probably not passive, but it's probably close to passive to some degree once you've built the app and then not functioning and all this stuff. So maybe you're just like, if someone uses it, we get some money, which is nice. Would love to know what your quarterly earnings are, but I don't think you'll ever give us that. Would I do this again? No. It doesn't make sense financially. And I spend money to travel. So like that was a write-off for me because I was able to do a video on it and I'm traveling for work currently. But like it's very expensive for just nap time, you know? I'd rather pound an energy drink and see how far I can make my sanity last before I'm spending another, $150 on a hotel room for a couple of hours. Anyways, that's going to be it. Have you tried Nappr? Have you heard of Nappr? Do you think the hotel aspect is what's limiting it here? Let me know. Comment down below. Reminder that I stream on Twitch. Reminder that Swell Entertainment is now available on Spotify. Reminder that if you use code SWELL, you get 10% off on gamer subs. Shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. If you also support me on Patreon, list it down below. Like Swell on social media. That'll be all up here. And that's going to be a hell of a day. Goodbye. I think until you have more flexibility in the actual bookings, it's not worth it. Thank you, Oz, Eva, Ayana, Abby, Angel, Goth, Glynn, Palace, Pink, Jasmine, Lauren, Amy, Aslan, Medic, Rosie, Victor, Andrew, Tenzin, Sam, Mae West, Michael, Ryan, Adira, Nathan, Zwink, Literal, Jeffrey, Randy, QWERTY, Nomad, Thomas, Tasha, Donnie, Winter, Kenny, Robert, Cameron, Elliott.